Hi Ultimate Gardeners, welcome back to the Ultimate Gardening channel. My name is Emmanuel Arce, well known as the Ultimate Gardener. In today's exciting sparring video, we have yet another collaboration, but with Bekah from Food Forest Next Door. Bekah's a very passionate gardener. She's an amazing gardener as well. So if you want to go ahead and check out her channel out, it's going to be up here for you guys to check out. She's close to 300 subscribers, so if we could help her out, that'd be amazing. So in today's exciting sparring video, she's gonna give you guys her 5 favorite herbs to grow in the garden. Herbs are very easy to grow in the garden, as well as they're very beneficial in multiple ways. So without further ado, here's Bekah.
Hi permaculture people, Bekah here with Food Forest Next Door, coming to you from my backyard in suburban Louisville, where I grow in Zone 6B. I'm turning my suburban backyard into a food forest wonderland of all things permaculture. Today, however, I'm here on Ultimate Gardening for my friend Emmanuel, who has asked me to share with you my top 5 herbs that I like to grow and use from my yard. One of the reasons I love herbs is they have so many uses. Of course, we can cook with them. They're also great in a cut bouquet to add some foliage and add a little bit of fragrance to your cut flower arrangement. You can use them as medicines. You can use them as skincare. You can use them as bath products, hair products, cosmetic products. They can just be wonderfully used to make your home smell good and be nice and clean. Herbs are fantastic to keep around the garden. So what is the difference between an herb and a spice? I know we use them interchangeably, 11 herbs and spices and such like that, but an herb is defined as any part of the fresh plant that is used. And that part could be a leaf, it could be a stem, it could be a root, but these things are used fresh. You're gonna use them in their green form. Like basil, think of, you could pick a piece of basil off, throw that leaf in your marinara sauce, and your plant keeps growing. You're not saving this for later. Spices generally come from the root that has been cut up and dried, used later. Also, spices can come from the fleshy fruit, the seeds, the nut parts of different plants, and they're usually pieces that are going to be dried, chopped up, and saved for later use. Think of like nutmeg and things like that, where you dry the piece and you grind it up into tiny pieces and you use it for later. That's a spice. So that's the difference between herbs and spices. Herbs are green, spices are dried. A quick count in my garden reveals I am growing currently 26 different herbs. So definitely this is a subject I could talk about a long time, but I'm gonna narrow it down to my top 5 today. As a permaculturalist, I love plants that serve more than one function. So a lot of mine have to at least do 2 jobs to earn their spot in my limited amount of space. Number 5, I'm going to say comfrey. You can use it as a green manure. You can use it dried and powdered and sprinkle them into your soil as a soil amendment. It'll really get all those bacteria activating in the soil just like it does in the compost. You could use comfrey as a pioneer plant, just like dandelions like compacted soil. Comfrey loves a compacted, hard clay soil. It will get those roots down in there. Some of the tap roots on comfrey can get 10 to 14 feet down into the soil. So it's wonderful to break up really stubbornly hard clay soils. Comfrey can aid in other plants as a rooting hormone. You can use these plants planted next to other plants that are being transplanted. So you have your comfrey here, you put your transplant near the comfrey, and those transplants are more likely to root and take. You can make comfrey into comfrey tea and use it as a fertilizer. One of the easiest ways to use comfrey is chop and drop. You chop that comfrey up and just let it go right there next to the plants, and it's gonna break down into the soil all on its own. You don't even have to do anything, and it will add nutrients into your soil. Comfrey is a wonderful plant because it's not only a pollinator attractant with its lovely little purple leaves, it is a nitrogen fixing plant, which means it can actually pull nitrogen out of the air, turn it into ammonia and nitrates within the plant proteins, and use that as a actually accessible source of nitrogen for plants that are not only the comfrey, but the plants that are planted around it. So a nitrogen fixing plant is a wonderful thing to have in your permaculture garden. Comfrey has also been used medicinally. It used to, in olden days, be used internally to treat different kinds of illnesses, but we have since discovered that it has compounds in it that irritate the liver, and that people who actually have consumed Comfrey have higher instances of liver cancer and liver disease. So do not take Comfrey internally. It is not something you want to ingest into your body. However, in medicine, it can be used on sprains, scrapes, cuts, and bruises, even broken bones when used externally, placed as a compress and placed as salve onto the affected part of your body. It actually promotes cell regeneration and growth to help knit bones back together. It can help you reattach different things that are broken within your body just by absorbing through your skin into your body. And in small amounts, it's absolutely totally safe. Number 4, Echinacea. This is a North American native plant. It is a wonderful flower, and the kind I have in my yard, I have the purple, the Echinacea purpurea as the Latin word goes, and it is a pollinator magnet. There are so many butterflies and bees and flies and beetles and every kind of pollinating insect all over my Echinacea all the time. It just is a wonderful powerhouse of a plant. And as many of you know, Echinacea can be dried, used as a tea, and it actually can shorten the length of the common cold and help you get over your flu symptoms and coughs and congestion faster if you take it as a tea. Fun fact about Echinacea, even though it is a North American plant, the root word for Echinacea is echinops, which is a Greek word that describes a hedgehog. And if you look at the head and the seed head of an Echinacea, it kind of looks a little bit like a hedgehog. Ironically, there are no hedgehogs in North America. They're an Asian, African, and European animal. My herb number 3, basil. I love basil. I love the smell of basil. I love basil with a fresh summer tomato and a piece of fresh mozzarella and a piece of basil, a little salt and pepper on there, dash of olive oil if you're feeling fancy, and that is a fantastic meal just by itself. Basil also the base ingredient of a wonderful pesto that you can throw over some pasta, add a little bit of protein in there if you're so inclined, and you have a lovely dinner. Basil also has antibacterial and antifungal properties. It also is known to help with a cough when taken as a syrup. It will help to break up a cough and have you back to healthy even sooner. Basil smells fantastic in cut flower arrangements. One of my favorite kinds to put into a bouquet is cinnamon basil. It just has this lovely, light, bright smell that comes along with your bouquet of flowers. Fantastic. It's also been said in some folklore that if you carry a leaf of basil in your wallet, it is said to attract money. No scientific basis to that one, but hey, it's worth a shot. Chamomile is my number 2 herb on our list. Chamomile is known as the physician plant because plants planted near a chamomile plant, even when they are ailing themselves, tend to perk up a bit. Chamomile is very good at releasing extra nutrients that the plant itself does not need and sharing them with its neighboring plants. So if you have a plant that's doing kind of poorly in your garden and you have a little cluster of chamomile, plant your ailing plant near there and let the physician heal thy plants. We all know that chamomile leaves, when dried and steeped in hot water, make a wonderful tea to help you at sleepy time. They are also helpful with digestion, and it helps to soothe an upset stomach. Number 1 herb, in my opinion, the queen of all herbs, is rosemary. I have never once had a pest bother my rosemary. In many U.S. growing zones, rosemary is a hardy perennial. If it's not a hardy perennial in your zone, it's easily dug up, put into a pot, and brought inside over the winter to be put under a grow light and then replanted back out in the spring. You can have the same rosemary plant for decades and the thing will just keep producing as long as you keep taking those wonderful cuttings and those sprigs of rosemary and enjoying them for yourself. According to modern research, science has proven that rosemary can aid in memory retention and recovering memories that were previously lost in some patients who are suffering from dementia. Rosemary has a long history in folklore of being carried for remembrance, such as Ophelia in Shakespeare's Hamlet. Rosemary is also said to ward off evil spirits from entering the house, and that if you distill some in some vinegar and spray down your front door, you will keep all the nasties away. not science. Worth a try. Oh, and Rosemary, not only being my grandmother's name, which makes me love it too, Rosemary tastes fantastic. So, as a general disclaimer, I am not a physician. I am not an herbal medicine specialist. All of this information has been gleaned from books and research that I have done myself and other people have shared on these wonderful platforms such as YouTube and things like that. If you are interested in any medical issues that can be treated with any of these herbs, I urge you to go to the Mount Sinai Hospital website. I'll put a link there and I'll try to tag it right here if I can remember to do that while I'm editing. And you can check out Mount Sinai and just type in the name of the herb you have a question about. They will let you know its uses, let you know its efficacy, let you know its safety, and let you know if there are any instances where it may interfere with any prescription medications that you are on. Because, like I said, I'm not the doctor. That is not my job. I'm a science teacher and I'm a gardener. So these are things that you need to take with a grain of salt, not literally a grain of salt. What you need to do is do your own research into these things. Speak with your physician. Do your own research before you ingest or put anything on your body. If you're going to put something on you as skincare, do a spot test first and just check out a little bit of it and see if you have any reactions to it, because people have allergies to lots of different things that they didn't know they had allergies to until they tried them. So check these things out. Wonderful resources that you can grow these things right behind you in a little grow tray. Stick them out in your yard and you can be growing your own herbs for culinary, medicinal, and cosmetic and fragrance and beauty uses. Herbs are a permaculture powerhouse. They do it all. So check out your zone, what will grow well in your... Thanks for sharing some time here with me, Emmanuel, for Ultimate Gardening so that I can share with your friends my top 5 favorite herbs. See you later, permaculture people.